Finally this Sunday, the man joining me now belonged in a band that thought meat was murder, had girlfriends in a coma, and once asked shoplifters of the world to unite and take over. That band is, of course, the Smiths. We are in Manchester, after all, their home territory. And in a moment, I'll be speaking to the band's drummer, Mike Joyce. Before that, though, here's a flavour of a new documentary in which he appears called Inside the Smiths.
Well, Morris, he was walking up and down the wall, and he had a long coat on. He didn't look at me. He just walked up and down, and kind of like a caged animal.
Well, that was a bit of this new video, Inside the Smiths, and Mike Joyce joins me now. Mike Joyce, why have you made this video? I mean, it looks like the sort of Bisto kids here on the front.
Yeah, well, let's see. It's not me, actually. It might be a bit out of date. It happened by accident, really. And myself and Andy Rourke, the bass player, were in America DJing, and a couple of friends of ours, Steve Petrico and Mark Stanley, the guys that actually did the film with us, decided to come over and do some filming. So when they were filming out there, when we got back and had a look at the content, it looked very good indeed. The cinematography was quite stunning, really. So they asked if we wanted to do some interviews. So we decided to do some interviews, and then it kind of snowballed from there, really.
So, of course, I mean, is the Smith story really now at the point of documentary and making retrospective videos that you all accept that period of your lives is over?
Very much so. I mean, it's been happening. It was quite prevalent over the last 10, 15 years. Lots of people have been wanting to do documentaries and DVDs, and that was one of the reasons why we carried on with the idea, is because I'd seen quite a few DVDs where people that were involved with the band, a lot of sound bites, people that were working with the band, people that knew the band, but not actually from the horse's mouth, so to speak, actually being in the band itself.
You were at that period, when you were on the top, I mean, you were the band, the British band in the world, and certainly in this country.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think you and Morrissey and the others? I mean, what was unique about what you did?
Honesty and straightforward delivery of the music and the desire to do that slightly differently and not play the game that's always expected of groups, the porn game of being kind of shunted around from one place to the other and having to do exactly as you're told. I think we had a sensibility within the group that had such a positive energy and such a strength through unity that we could actually deliver something in exactly how we wanted to do it and not go down the usual route, and also great songs.
And was it very much a foursome running the band? Obviously you were the rhythm section, Morrissey was the front man, as it were. I mean, to what extent was it a four-way process?
Well, I mean, musically, Johnny Marr would write the melody and obviously write all the guitar parts, and then we'd work together with that idea in the studio, and then Morrissey would have his obviously completely separate entity, being the lyricist, the wordsmith, because that was his domain, and I think I'd find it quite difficult if they weren't so personal, if it was other people chipping in. I mean, he's such a brilliant wordsmith that I don't think that was certainly wasn't on the cards to go anywhere into that territory.
But although he was obviously writing his personal story, it was something which you related to, you understood, which reflected the times, which reflected Manchester life.
Very much so. Well, we had an affinity within the four of us because we were four working class lads, Irish Catholic upbringing from Manchester. So we had a kind of building blocks to really. It wasn't as though there was any mystery involved between the four of us as to where we're from. It wasn't as though the singer was from Aberdeen and the bass player was from Suffolk. We kind of all had a grounding in the heart of working class Manchester from a very early age. So when we did get together, we knew exactly where we were each other in kind of culturally.
I mean, Hazel Beers was telling me earlier on how Manchester's a modern city, cleaned up. Are you a little bit nostalgic when it was a bit more sort of grungy, perhaps?
Well, I am actually, but I think that's one of the beauties of the architecture that I'm seeing at the moment. They're restoring a lot of the old buildings and some of the beautiful kind of facades and the Victorian architecture that's there, rather than gutting them and setting up some plastic monstrosity with glass. I mean, there is a little bit of it, but I suppose that's personal taste. But I know that it's they are kind of retaining a lot of the original old buildings.
Spice Girls are threatening to get together. We can absolutely say, can we, no Smiths reunion?
I didn't say that.
Could happen.
Well,
You're
stranger
still
things have
talking to each
happened.
other. You've been to court. I know that. You're still talking
Yes,
to
yeah.
Morrissey?
Well, I'm speaking to some of them, but like I say, stranger things have happened.
So it could happen.
Yeah, and I don't see any pigs flying, but I don't know. Who knows?
You'd like to do that, and of course, in the meantime, you've got your career as a DJ and also an independent musician. Thank you very much indeed,
Cheers,
Mike Joyce, for joining us. It's called Inside the Smiths. Will be available. We're here in Manchester. Alan Johnson now arriving.